Hello, so this is my human resource plan for RAIN. So first we're going to have like the board of directors, and the board of directors will consist of the president, secretary, treasurer, and the board members. Each bullet note underneath each position lists the responsibilities of the board of directors. First and foremost, the president has to, of course, run the board meetings, appoint the directors, and basically abide by the rules of the bylaws. And they also are responsible for setting the agenda and ensuring proper and timely information to the board. The secretary has to, of course, take notes at the board meetings and submit those minutes to get approved by the board. And basically, like they keep account of everything that goes on within the organization company as a whole. Then we have the treasurer who keeps the financial copies, signs the check with the business manager or the business manager or the accountant writes, and they approve and purchases and the invoices, and basically like oversee or keep track of all the organization's finances. Then we have the board members, which basically like they help govern the company. They also just make sure that the board of directors or the people with the top position in the board of directors keep track of the mission with the company. Next, we have the leadership directors, which includes the executive director, outreach director, and the development director and the human resource director. So under the leadership directors, the executive director is responsible for overseeing the administration, programs, and strategic plan of the organization. They also establish and maintain relationships with various organizations throughout the state and utilize those relationships to strategically enhance the organization's mission. They also report to the board of directors. Then we have the outreach director, which basically collect the information for strategic use, and they conclude like what programs the company should offer. They also organize events and assist with the volunteer coordinator, who's going to be underneath them to recruit volunteers and basically create projects that will gather the community support. Then we have the development marketing director. They fundraise and secure financial support, create special events for donors, and basically like run projects to ensure that the organization meets its annual goal. And they also work closely with the executive director and the board of directors, involving anything involving development and fundraising. They also has a grant writer, which is underneath them, which is gonna they oversee that person to when they're applying for different grants. And then we have the human resource director, which basically supervises and provides consultation to management on staff plans, compensation, benefits, training, development, budget, and labor relations. So they basically like want to keep track of the different who like they basically well not keep track, but they basically set the amount of compensation each employee gets, the benefits that we're gonna offer. They train, make sure that everybody is trained, and then they also are responsible for basically a smooth and profitable operation of the company's human resource department. So they just want to make sure everything is smooth over, so there's no disputes, no lawsuits, and so forth. So staff under the executive director, we have the program coordinators and the tutors. The program coordinators basically they create the whole program, they set a schedule to follow. They also oversee the employees under each program. There's going to be at least 3 program coordinators, and then under those program coordinators, we'll have teaching assistants who are responsible for educating the youth in their specific area of interest by teaching them and integrating their art form, perspectives, and skills. Then we have the tutors. The tutors basically monitor students' performance or assist the students in academic environments. They also review class material and help the student basically just learn or review the material, learn that what they were supposed to learn, or just reiterating the learned material. Then we have the staff under the outreach director, and these are the volunteer coordinators. They basically recruit volunteers. They involve assessing they assess and meet the organization needs through the recruitment and placement and retention of volunteers. Basically, you want to keep those volunteers that you do recruit, and they basically oversee all volunteers, of course. And then we have the volunteers who just are like support staff with anything that's going on with the organization. And then we have this staff under the development director, which is basically the fundraising coordinator and the grant writer. So basically, they're going to be responsible for coordinating different fundraising tasks on behalf of the organization. That means we have probably like galas and so forth for donors to attend. Then we have the grant writer who is basically responsible for researching and applying for different grants. Then we have the staff under the human resource director. So basically, we have the human resource manager, and they basically oversee a specific department, such as payroll, benefit plans, or employee training. So they help mediate disputes between employees, and they also create training sessions. They're going to be alongside with the human resource director, basically like making sure all staff are trained. And last but not least of our staff, we have the accountant slash bookkeeper, and then we have our legal counsel. So the accountant basically is going to manage all aspects of day-to-day bookkeeping and accounting processes. They prepare monthly and quarterly financial reports. They process and pay all invoices. Well, they're going to be working alongside with the treasurer to make sure that all invoices are paid. And then we have the legal counsel, which basically gives general legal advice on the best practices involving the company. They're basically supposed to require like sound judgment and reasoning skills, and they're also be effective, communicate effectively in written and verbal documents and so forth. And that's it. Thank you.